Also, an overdrive overview coming on the show where we compare TVS with Honda, the scooter showdown of 2024, the 2024 TVS Jupiter versus the 110 review. All the new features of the rich model coming up on the program. It's 2nd of September and we are officially in the middle of the National Nutrition Week. Observed annually in India from September 1st to 7th, the Nutrition Week is our annual reminder to check in on our eating habits, celebrate the power of good nutrition as well. It started to actually combat malnutrition and promote healthy diets across country. Initially, the focus was ensuring everyone was getting enough food to eat, especially in areas where food was scarce. Nowadays, as this week has evolved, it's grown in its broader mission, encouraging balanced diets, tackling issues like obesity, even considering the environmental impact of our food choices. With so much conflicting information, temptations everywhere, the National Nutrition Week is a perfect time to refocus on eating smart, living well and making healthier choices every day, and we on TBC are dedicating a full week to it. Every day we will be picking up a focus area and experts on the show will give you some workable solutions. We start the week with nutrition in babies and toddlers. Now, over the weekend, I'm sure you must have seen the recent US report and US study which has revealed that around 60% of packaged baby food sold in the US does not meet nutrition standards set by the WHO. Researchers took a deep dive into over 650 baby food products from major US grocery stores, and the results showed that a staggering 70% of these, 70% of the products found on US shelves did not meet protein requirements, and nearly half of them had too much sugar. What's even worse and even more concerning is that many of these products were marked with bold claims like supports brain health, packaged with nutrients, but in reality, they might be doing more harm than actually good. High sugar, sodium, preservatives are all too common in these convenient pouches, ready-to-eat containers that are all around us, and also, and I say us because it's a phenomena in India as well, raising serious questions about their long-term impact on our children's health. Experts are now pointing out that these dietary choices could be linked to rise in child obesity, metabolic issues, even chronic diseases once thought only affected adults. Feeding these products all kinds of wrong baby foods, even in the early years, can shape the eating habit of a child for an entire lifetime. And it's a responsibility I'm sure no mother, no caregiver is going to take lightly. So on the program, let's try and understand how does this study actually shape up in the Indian context, and what exactly is a nutritious meal? What exactly is a balanced meal when it comes to your kids, your toddlers and your little ones? Joining us first on the program is Dr. Devesh Agarwal. He is a child specialist from Gurgaon, Haryana, consultant pediatrician, very famous with NCR kids and their caregivers. Good morning, Dr. Devesh. So glad to have you with us early this morning. You know, the US study points to insufficient nutrition, high sodium levels, sugar levels, all of it. But that's in context to what's happening in the States. If you had to give us a current understanding of how this looks like in India, what are your thoughts on that?
See, traditionally, Indian families have been giving their babies home-cooked fresh food because they think that, and think correctly, that it is fresh, preservative-free, and quality ingredients, no preservatives, and they can control. For example, we do not allow the use of salt or sugar at all in the first year of life. So these are the basic beliefs because of which we encourage home food. But now in the metropolis cities, we have nuclear families and couples are busy, so they can't be cooking all the time fresh food. So they are opting more and more for baby foods, right from infant formulas to baby cereals, to slurpy foods, and a lot of vitamin and mineral supplements, and baby snacks also. And this industry does have stringent standards enforced by FSSAI, but the implementation on the ground still needs to be checked. But this is a very fast growing
Implementation
part of the
indeed.
infant food industry.
True that. But in desperate times, Dr. Devesh, and this is a question that pops up in all mums' mind, you know, nobody wants to give packaged food, but in desperate times when you're compelled to give something that comes out of a box, and there are so many D2C brands out there claiming to be non-preservative, to not have any added sugar, to not have any of those, disadvantages. What exactly are the red flags in ingredients? If you're looking at a box, what should you look for?
So two things: we totally cannot ignore the needs of the parents, and we cannot compromise on the baby also. So we need to marry the two. The look for your baby food beyond the home kitchen starts with the box first. First of all, you have to be very careful when you go to. You should always go with a magnifying glass. Okay, the package, the details are usually printed so small that it is difficult to read them. Number two, the detailing is also very often you'll find very tricky. Tricky is the word I would use. For example, if the daily sodium allowed to your baby is, let us say, 3 grams, and the portion size is 100 grams. So they would sometimes mention that salt content sodium 2 grams per 50 gram serving. So you feel 2 grams, you are happy. But when you calculate, your baby is going to get 100 grams, so he's going to get 4 grams of sodium, right? So that is where the trick lies. Sometimes they mention no sugar added, because in many places, cane sugar is counted as sugar, but palm sugar is not counted as sugar. So when they add palm sugar, it becomes tricky. Then they just mention things like hydrogenated fats or hydrogenated oils. A common person may not be able to understand. This is a polite way of saying that this contains trans fats. Because if you write trans fats, it's a big no-no. But don't write trans fats. Write something else. And when they say no sugar added, sometimes artificial sweeteners have been added, which are not in the green as of now.
I see. So, Dr. Devesh, help us understand this. Would it be fair to say that a basic, good old Dadi Nani Indian diet, and I say Dadi Nani because back in the day what people used to have, is okay for kids, for toddlers, or are there any conventional deficiencies even in our Indian food that need to be compensated for?
Okay, first of all, 2 main ingredients which are missing in our Indian home diet are iron and vitamin D. So that we have to accept, and all Indian babies get iron and vitamin D supplement during the first year of life. So these 2 are the red flag things which are not there in a diet, which need to be supplemented. Besides that, unnecessary use of multivitamin drops in the first year is not required. However, your pediatrician may sometimes add them because the baby is fussy and is not eating an entire variety of food. When I say variety of foods, I mean to say we need to classify them as macronutrients and micronutrients. Your macronutrients, we all understand, are carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Micronutrients are your vitamins and minerals. So for this, you have to have a variety of diet, right from to pulses, to fruits, with green leafy vegetables, and if you are a vegetarian, then of course things like paneer, soy, and green beans become very important for you. And if you are a non-vegetarian, you have less problem with these micronutrients and proteins, because fish, chicken, and egg provides a lot of it. So the variety in food is very important, and yes, mothers at times struggle because the baby does not know what the pediatrician says. They have their own mind.
Talking about mothers, you're absolutely right. It's a struggle. I think one thing that all young moms sort of will agree upon is that मेरा बच्चा खाना नहीं खाता है. All mothers, all caregivers obsess over food. So what is your sort of nutrition advice 101 to all caregivers worried about first how much food is going into their babies and what exactly is the nutrition constitution of it?
Okay, most important thing that the single largest complaint of a mother in India in our setting is "Mera bacha khata nahi hai, my child does not eat." Let's call him a fussy eater, and the more for a fussy eater is that you're running after him with food all the time. He has never experienced hunger. You know, after every 30 minutes, because he has not eaten over the last half an hour, you're chasing him with food. Food becomes a problem for him. So first thing is no force feeding your baby. Variety, yes, but as long as you stick to no force feeding, offering food after every 3 hours, let the baby have food for 20 minutes. Don't sit around for an hour or two. Baby gets irritated. I mean, an adult would get irritated if you offer food every 30 minutes. So offer food every 30 minutes, offer it for 20 minutes. Don't do business deals like cell phone or TV or iPad to make the baby eat. And eat along with the baby. Right? So that is what I would advise. This will cut out 90% of your problem that the baby does not eat. Okay. Second comes to the variety of food. Okay. So now that variety of food and variety of food will not come in processed food. Processed food has one problem. You open a box of processed food.
Yeah.
Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 100. It will have the same color, same consistency, same texture, same taste. Try making dal at home. It will have a different color, different texture, different taste every day. So a child who is eating home food is adaptable to different textures, different colors, different flavors because no 2 days dal will be the same. But processed food, just like a burger in a popular joint, will be the same today and 10 years down. So have variety and home cook as far as you can. Don't take too much.
Yeah. So, Dr. TVS, let me come to this then. For those who are still not convinced and looking at food that comes out of a box, are perhaps giving in to the marketing or giving in to the packaging, what exactly is the problem with food that comes in a box? And does that include formula milk as well?
Everything that I've said so far, overloading with salt, overloading with sugar, which leads to early onset diabetes and hypertension at the age of 40. Then sometimes they go very heavy in calories, which causes obesity. Too much of sugar leads, of course, to dental caries. And they get fixed to a particular color and consistency. They are not adaptable to natural food, which tastes different every time. And yes, here also we might also like to talk about health food drinks, which have been rushing into the market that your child needs these health food drinks. Now, if you look at the health food drinks, they market themselves as, for example, protein drinks. And you look at the actual protein content, there is and there's a large proportion of casein in it, less of whey protein, which babies should have. There are a lot of casein. And protein content is quite low. And the sugar overloading is so phenomenal that regular use may cause obesity. And many of, I can't name them, but many of the popular brands have accepted off the record that yes, they overloaded with sugar. So sweet that the child likes it and he takes it and then he refuses to take milk without these elements.
All right, Dr. TVS Jupiter, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on all things baby food with a box. I mean, inside a box and outside a box, how exactly to go about it. Thanks so much for joining us with your thoughts. But we also have another guest, Anita Chhatwal. She's a top-notch nutritionist and she will, help us break down on what exactly is it that these tricky food labels tell us and how do we ensure that we are getting the right kind of diet in our kids' stomach. Okay, so Anita, thanks so much for joining us. My first question really is your take on how you found baby food study that has come out from the US. 60% of them did not meet the nutritional guidelines. They had high sugar, they had high sodium, all things that you want to avoid in kids. And the worst part is the packaging that seemed to promise the world but was doing actually the opposite. In the Indian context, anecdotal sort of evidence that is picking up, because it's sad that we don't have a study done in India just yet. But anecdotally, when caregivers come to you, mothers come to you, what exactly are you seeing?
Yes, you are very right. In fact, if you talk about kids, their body is actually growing and they need to have all the nutrients in their body. So for that, they need to make sure that major ingredients, all the macros and micros should be a part of their dietary habits. And if we talk about packed foods, it's very, very important that all the nutrients in this packed foods are there. Let's start firstly with protein. Protein खूब सारा होना चाहिए in each and every product. Similarly, sugar. बट शुगर को कई नामों से छुपाया जाता है ताकि अगर उसका शुगर कंटेंट ज्यादा हो रहा है the consumer gets confused. And then we come about sodium. The sodium should not be higher up till a limit. It is good, but beyond that it becomes bad for the child. Similarly, there are various I would say lines, बहुत सारी ऐड की जाती हैं जिससे allure किया जाता है customer को to buy that particular product. Something like these foods are referred to as snacks, and they're compared to fruits and vegetables, which they actually are not. And there are certain misleading claims which are being said on the packaging. Something like this is full of goodness, 100% natural, they are made from fresh, real fruits. So these all things really matter a lot while we are reading the labels and when these labels are being created.
Right. So read your labels. That's the bottom line that we're picking up both from a pediatrician and nutritionist as well. But tell us, what is a proper nutrition to be looked at? In fact, why, if you could tell us, is it so crucial to have proper nutrition in the first 3 years of your life?
See, if we see the kids are growing and developing to their full potential. So their foundation has to be right. They have to be eating nice, healthy eating. They have to be eating healthy food. Their habits have to be right because this will matter in their future. Their brain development is a key role which takes place on the nutrition part. And then if they want to the parents want to reduce the chronic diseases which can happen in the future, the diet should be apt. Then we talk about immunity, which is a major concern these days. So if the diet of the child, the emerging ears, the cells and tissues, when they are growing, they are developing, a good immunity can be a part only if they are being fed right. Similarly, if we talk about obesity, obesity is a major concern. I think every one child out of 8 is these days being considered as obese because of the wrong eating habits. And then we come to the iodine deficiency. If the iodine is more or less, it can create a lot of problem in kids, especially like mentally, hearing, speech, disability can take place. And then we can talk about iron deficiency, which can lead to less of oxygen in tissues and bodies in body's tissues and organs, and which in turn can hamper their growth. So I think all these points, if we consider, so the age group from 1 to 3 really require a lot of focus in their nutritional habits.
Right. And it's not just about what they're eating now, right? It sort of sets in the tone and sets habits for future as well, which is why when it comes to kids, these early years are so critical. But tell us, if parents are looking at baby food labels, and I asked this to Dr. Devesh as well, what is the kind of right balance of things that one must look at? If at all you have to pick a box, because at the end of the day, the lives we live in the metros of India, everything comes in a box. Even if you tell me to have ragi, I will probably pick it up out of a box.
Major 2 contents which we actually should be looking for when we are buying these packet foods is, first of all, the sodium level and the sugar level. If the sodium level is high, the body loses the calcium. So the kids, since their bones are growing and if their sodium level is high, they can have a depletion of calcium and the bones can be weaker. And then, of course, we all know that if the sodium level is high, the blood pressure can be an issue. It can create certain heart diseases and even strokes at an early age. And because of sodium, overweight, obesity is a major reason. Then when we come to high sugar, again, all these things are a part of it. Obesity, BP, cholesterol levels go high, type 2 diabetes can be there in future. So as you said, the question is that how the parents should be probably reading the labels and then buying the product, especially when we're talking about sodium. So you need to make sure that at least, at the age group of 1 to 3, the kids should be having 1200 milligram sodium per day. And similarly, the age group of 4 to 8, it can rise up to 1500, and 9 to 13 till 1800, and the age group 14 to 18, they can go up to 2300 milligram per day. Similarly, if we talk about sugar, everything consists of sugar. Chahe aapki roti ho, sabzi ho, fruit ho, dal ho, everything has sugar, and natural sugar is the best and it would not harm you. And if we're talking about added sugar, so this should be not more than, I would say, around 20 grams or maybe less than in a day for the children.
I see. You're right about sort of navigating through these health claims. But what is your advice then? How should we be looking at baby food brands? Is there a lens or a meter or a mantra that you follow? Or do you tell your clients about how to look at brands, how to approach them?
Yeah, this is a very important question, Sona. We've been talking that parents should check the ingredients, but they should actually know that what should be checked in ingredients, what should be read. So maybe there they can navigate the right thing for their child. So very firstly, what the parents should be doing is check the ingredient list, and if you check, the greatest ingredient is at the first level and the least is in the end. So if the parent is buying maybe a carrot apple sauce and thinking that it has more of carrots or more of iron, but if we see the ingredients, the first thing which is coming is apple puree. That means there is more of apple content, not the carrot. So be aware of that. And then similarly, the serving size and the calories related to it. Like if a packet of chips is like 100 calories per serving, that means, and then you have to check that 100 calories per serving of what? 10 grams, 100 grams, and then that particular packet is for how many grams? It is very much common that we just check this at 100 calories per serving. We don't read ahead how much serving, 10 grams, 100 grams, and then the packet which we are holding, that is for how many grams. Next, as I've discussed it before, added sugar. One is total sugar and one is added sugar. Be very careful over here.
Yeah.
And of course, the various names being given to sugar, as I discussed before. Next comes fats. When you are reading the labels, check the fats. The very first is trans fat. This is not good for the health. Next comes saturated fat. Again, it is not good for the health. The lastly is unsaturated fat, which actually matters and which is actually a good fat. So you have to make sure that the quantity of unsaturated fat is higher rather than the trans fat and the saturated.
Right. So bottom line is that we've all got to include more minutes in our mom math segments and in our head know how to calculate the amount of sodium, amount of sugar, on top of that ensure that we are doing the labeling and reading all of that correctly. Well, that's what all of us have to do, adults or kids alike. Actually, your final message then on some tips that you can share with parents very worried on whether the child is getting, like I said, the right amount of the right nutrition.
Sona, this is again a very important question. What I would say as a nutritionist, a parent should never rely on packed food. It is never good in any case. Whatever might be written, the food which you are preparing in your kitchen, especially in Indian kitchen, can surpass any of the food products which are available across the world. So if you are preparing all the food for your child in your kitchen, just make sure it's hygienic enough. All the fruits and vegetables are being washed. The tools being used are being washed properly. Now we come to the vegetables and fruits. Make sure that your child eats maximum amount of vegetable fruits, and they should be seasonal. Not buying the products which are fancy, the vegetables which are probably priced at a very higher level, and they're being said they're imported and have more of nutrients. Believe me, the thing which is seasonal, local, has more nutrition for your child rather than something which is expensive and coming from far away places. Now, next, avoid more of sauces and mayonnaise and other taste developing things, which can actually enhance the particular dish. Instead, use Indian herbs, spices. The kids should be able to develop the taste. The taste buds should be developed by herbs and spices, not those tomato ketchups, those mayonnaise, those diet sauces. And as I told before, fruits, banana is the first solid food which you can introduce to a small child. Similarly, rice, it's nutritionally the best for your child. Add some ghee in it, maybe some curd in it, and they will enjoy. And you will be sure that they are getting all the nutrients, whether it's carbs, fats, protein, everything would be a part of it.
Yeah. All right, we leave it there. So much. Thank you so much, Anvita, for joining us. So with that, so bottom line is what? Bottom line is the same thing that we apply for kids and what we've been trying to talk about all this while. Eat local, eat seasonal, eat fresh, make it at home. Anything made at home is tons, times better than something that is available in the market. And also your basic roti, sabzi, dal, chawal is what everybody is asking you to go back to, and that is what your kids will also enjoy. And the tricky part is if you have to eat with them to inculcate habits, you also have to eat it. So on that note, after so much conversation about food, let's slip into a break. Coming up on the other side, we'll talk about this very unique Chinese dancer who, guess what, has now done an Anangitram in Bharatnatyam. This beautiful, fascinating story of Lea Muzi coming up on the other side.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said Musk needed to respect Brazilian authorities.
He cannot keep offending presidents, offending deputies, offending senators, offending the Congress, offending the Supreme Court. Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? The next thing is he needs to respect the decision of the Brazilian Supreme Court.
The judge's order is the latest chapter in an ongoing feud between the Brazilian Supreme Court justice and Musk. It follows the freezing of Brazilian bank accounts belonging to satellite internet provider Starlink, which is 40% owned by Musk, in a bid to avoid the use of virtual private networks or VPNs to circumvent the blockage. The judge said that individuals or companies who tried to keep access to the social network that way could be fined up to 50,000 reais, or close to $9,000 a day. Musk, denouncing the order as censorship, responded by closing the platform's offices in Brazil. X, formerly known as Twitter, said at the time that its services would still be available in Brazil.
Mr. Musk.
Liberdade de expressão não é liberdade de agressão. Liberdade de expressão não é liberdade de destruição da democracia, de destruição das instituições.
Welcome back. Let's now take you through some stories coming from India and across the globe. And let's begin with some extraordinary thing that happened in Gaza. The Palestinian Refuge Agency spokesperson said that everything is going to plan in Gaza Strip, the polio vaccination campaign there. United Nations is now in collaboration with the Palestinian health authorities, and they began to vaccinate 640,000 children in the Gaza Strip on Sunday, with Israel and Hamas agreeing to briefly pause their 11-month war to allow the campaign to go ahead. Israelis and foreign diplomats on Sunday paid their respects to hostages who died in the hands of Hamas after 11 months in captivity. Israel said it recovered the bodies of 6 hostages from a tunnel in Gaza where they had been apparently killed shortly before its troops reached them, triggering protests by Israelis on Sunday and planned labor strikes over the failure to save them. Serena Williams set Flushing Meadows abuzz on Saturday as the 23-time major winner appeared at the US Open as a fan for the first time since stepping away from tennis 2 years ago. The 6-time winner dominated New York throughout her career and made an emotional goodbye when she played her final match against Australia in the 3rd round of the 2022 tournament. Norway's Princess Martha Louise married her long-term partner, American self-styled spiritual guru Durek Verrett, on Saturday in a ceremony that was attended by the Norwegian king and other royalties as well. This was marked with what critics saw as a sort of commercialization of the event. But was it really so? Watch this report for more.
Norway's Princess Martha Louise tied the knot on Saturday to her longtime partner, Durek Verrett, a self-styled spiritual guru from California.
Yeah, it was amazing. The whole thing. Det var fantastisk.
What would you like to say about your wife, your beautiful wife, Decoded?
I think she's the most amazing woman and the most gorgeous woman, and I'm so glad I made my vows to her.
The wedding marked the culmination of 3 days of festivities to honor the pair. Scandinavian royalty, influencers, and celebrities all took part. But some critics have said that the event has been too commercialized. Martha Louise stepped down from official royal duties in 2022 to pursue her own business ventures more freely. She said the couple would not use her royal title commercially, but the pair has faced criticism from the palace and members of parliament for linking commercial activities to her royal status. A few months ago at a liquor company media event, the pair introduced a pink gin for their wedding with their names and a monogram. This week, Norwegian health authorities ruled that the marketing was inappropriate. The couple ceremony was only open to media sponsoring the event. It was not broadcast on TV, unlike her first marriage in 2002 that ended in 2017. It's not the first time Martha Louise has stirred controversy. In 2007, she announced she was a clairvoyant and had started a school to help people by teaching them how to talk to angels. As for Verrett, he becomes part of the extended royal family, but not the core royal house of Norway. That means he will not become a prince.
All right, moving on to some extraordinary stuff happening at the Paris Paralympics. India won their third medal in the athletics in the ongoing Paris Paralympics, as well as a seventh overall as well, with Nishad Kumar winning silver in the men's high jump with the final height of 2.04 meters, this season's best. Now, he finished behind USA's Roderick Townsend, who takes home the gold with the season best 2.0, while the neutral Paralympic Georgia wins the bronze over there. But let's switch tracks and get you some other results as well. This one on Rampal was the other Indian competing in the event, and he finished 7th with a maximum height of 1.95 meters, his personal best over there. Meanwhile, Murugesan defeated Manisha Ramadas to become the third Indian para shuttler after Nitesh Kumar and Suhas Yathiraj to be assured of at least a silver. Now, Murugesan ends up defeating Ramdas 23-21, 21-17, both games being closely fought affairs to advance to the final, with the latter set to compete for bronze tomorrow. So those are the latest comings in from the Paris Paralympics. All right, moving on. Bharatnatyam, one of the oldest classical dance forms of India, is renowned for its intricate footwork, expressive gestures, and rich storytelling. Originally from Tamil Nadu, this dance form is characterized by its grace, precision, and it has been a sort of cornerstone of South Indian cultural heritage for centuries. It's common practice in South Indian homes to have kids learn the dance form, but in a first now, a Chinese girl has achieved the highest level of training that is possible in this beautiful dance form. Now, what will pop up on your screen right now is Leah Muzi, a young girl from China, performing the Bharatnatyam Arangetram, a significant milestone in the life of a Bharatnatyam dancer, where the training is complete and you have the license or perhaps your teacher's blessings to perform for an audience and do shows as well. But how did this Chinese girl get into this very interesting South Indian dance form? What's her story? What brought her to India? And what's importantly, the story of her teacher and her family? Watch this report for more.
This is Lei Muzi. These are her intricate gestures, her enthralling movements. Lei is a history-making Bharatnatyam dancer. She is the first ever Chinese person to perform an Arangetram in India. An Arangetram is the debut solo performance of a dancer that marks the culmination of years of rigorous training and dedication. We asked Lei how she feels about reaching this milestone.
I feel different because when I first came, I was here as a tourist. And now I am here to finish an aim that I made like years ago. And I am now very happy.
But what does it take to get to this moment? And how did Lei even start on this journey in the first place? Lei started learning Bharatnatyam at the tender age of 3 in China. Her teacher Isha is also Chinese and came to India way back in the 1990s to study Bharatnatyam. Since then, Isha has taught more than 100 students in China. She says more and more students are interested in learning this art form, and told us the story of how she first started teaching.
Back from India, people didn't know what is Indian classical dance. They know more about Bollywood. So I just started the class. Like my daughter was 5 years old, so her classmates, they all want to learn dance. So the mother came to me. They said, "Why you don't organize a class? They all have, the age to start dance." So I start with my daughter and her friends.
Isha's own guru is the acclaimed maestro Leela Sampson. And Leela came to watch her student reach this momentous milestone.
Getting through a Bharatanatyam margam is quite a tough thing, both in terms of your stamina, but also your lagav and your interest in doing it, wanting to do it. So I think it's really a wonderful coming together of two cultures, and it speaks a lot for the changes that are happening around the world and how the Chinese people are taking to Bharatanatyam.
But what comes next for young Lei, who with 13 already embodies the idea of a cross-cultural fusion?
I'll continue dancing, hopefully, and achieve a better self in the future.
Bureau reports, CNN News 18.
Isn't that just lovely? All right, on that note, let's switch tracks and quite literally this time to our auto story of the day. TVS Motors' highest-selling scooter has been on the receiving end more than just a refreshed exterior design. It's got an all-new engine, new chassis and new list of features from 2024 which will strengthen the challenge to the segment leader, which is the Honda Activa, in a tussle for the top spot. Overdrive with a Versus.
Alright guys, so it's been around 11 years since the TVS Jupiter 110 has been around in India, and the year is 2024 and it has finally undergone a substantial change. This could be considered a generational change because that's an all new engine, a different chassis, and of course different design and features as well. Now we have been called out here to the TVS test track, the facility in Hosur, which is the plant, to ride the scooter a couple of days before the launch. I'm going to walk you through what's new with this new generation model. So let's get to it. Now the Jupiter 110 is a real big deal for TVS because, to put it simply, this is pretty much the bread and butter scooter model for the company. Now the Jupiter scooter series is the highest selling brand in the manufacturer's scooter portfolio, managing to outshine models like the Scooty Pep Plus, the Zest 110, and surprisingly even the N-Torque range of scooters in terms of units sold. So much so that, say, if the N-Torques are selling at a rate of 30,000 units a month, the Jupiter scooters, well, they're doing double of that number in the same time frame. That's how much in demand they are in India. Even though these sales numbers include both the Jupiter 110 and the 125cc models combined, it still is an impressive feat nonetheless. Alright, so starting off with the design of the scooter. Now this is the top spec variant of the 110 Jupiter. So it comes with this very peculiar, nice color scheme as well, and very refreshing in terms of design. It has a more modern take on although it is a family oriented scooter, it's not that sporty, but it does have a nice futuristic look to it, primarily thanks to that long running DLL along the front apron of the scooter. Now the turn indicators have been integrated into the front apron as well, like before, but you don't have those bird's eye kind of looking turn indicators as the older scooter. Now you get 12-inch wheels at both ends, telescopic front suspension, single monoshock at the rear, LED lighting at both ends, really neat looking. And of course this top spec variant is identifiable visually by of course the DRLs, which are complete all around the scooter, and the disc brake. The disc brake is only available on the top spec variant, and which includes the connected tech. Now along the back of the scooter with the turn indicators integrated here as well. I'll just switch that on for you to get a look at that. And this top spec variant also comes with a hazard light switch, which has been integrated quite neatly into the turn indicator buttons out here as well. So this is how the normal turn indicators work. but you long press this and it functions as a hazard light switch. So that's a really neat thing. Now as you can see with this particular model, also on the lower trims, that well, TVS have done away with the chrome finish bits on the scooter and have opted for a rather classier looking piano black finish all throughout the scooter. Now this is available on the lower models as well. Secondly, you will come to the screen. Now this is an LCD screen, reverse LCD. They call it a color screen, but there are just some colored elements out there. This screen, quite intuitive, decent amount of information for you on the go. You can toggle between your odometers, trip settings, and of course you do have real-time running efficiency when you're on the go, and it does have speed warning. So when you go above 80 kilometers per hour, it gives you this high speed warning. Although it is not designed to kind of be a high-speed scooter, it will reach around 80 kilometers per hour, and you do get an indicator like how you do get on your cars with the beeping, that kind of alarm. It shows you a visual indicator that you are hitting 80 kilometers per hour and to stick within speed limits. Eco and power modes depending on your throttle inputs, and of course now this is the new chassis. So this is the same chassis as that of the Jupiter 125. So the entire layout of the 110 has improved, I would say, because yes, as you can see, the fuel filler lid out here with the 110, like with the 125, has shifted to the front. The aprons to fill your fuel quite conveniently on the go. Now this is the new 113cc single cylinder engine. There's quite a bit of tech thrown in there as well. So it has ISS, which is the intelligent start-stop system, which basically your scooter goes off if you stop at a signal, pull over for around 3 seconds, it will go off automatically, twist the throttle, and then it will ignite and start, and you can be on your way. Then there have been other integrated technologies with this particular motor, like you have this small boost kind of feature which works more or less on the lines of the Yamaha Ray ZR, where yes, now the max power of this motor is around 8 PS of max power and around 9.2 Nm of torque, but then there is a small indicator on the dashboard that tells you that you have some power from the battery to thrust you forward with a little more gusto, because your power is bumped up, your torque in fact is bumped up to around 9.8 Nm of torque with that assist from the electrical motor from the battery that draws power from the battery and gives you a little more shove on your initial phase of acceleration. So that is pretty neat as well. Now in terms of braking, yes, you do get disc brake up in front with the top spec variant, drum brake at the rear, single sided swing arm.
All right, next we bring you a special segment on the financial markets powered by MoneyControl Pro, MoneyControl's premium destination for investing and business insights. Let's start with how the markets are get to open this morning. GIFT Nifty trends indicate a weak start for Indian equity indices, breaking the 12-day record of a winning streak. US indices ended strong on Friday after fresh data strengthened the call for a September Fed rate cut. Asian markets are trading mixed, with Japan trading higher but Hong Kong and China lower, and gold prices are trading higher while crude oil is trading lower in Asian markets. Moving on to sector in focus this morning, the precision engineering specializing in springs technology has application across sectors. Now, it plays an important role in critical applications such as renewable energy, including wind turbine and hydropower plants requiring stringent testing. Now, while the cost of the components is minuscule compared to the total cost of the project, entry barriers to the industry are higher and customer relationships are sticky. You can log into MoneyControl Pro to find out more about India's precision engineering sector and various other actionable insights on the markets. It is a premier destination for all the investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by MoneyControl. And before we leave, here's a quick reminder. You can visit news18.com for the latest and breaking news with up-to-date coverage on India, world, business, entertainment and cricket. News18.com is India's leading news website, combines accurate reporting with in-depth analysis, ensuring the readers are informed, they stay informed on critical developments.
क्या मतलब
What's the answer to the Shanghai Plan, Mr. Musk? Is it going to expand, Mr. Musk?
Liberdade de expressão não é liberdade.
Social media platform X has been immediately suspended from use in Brazil. The decision comes amid a legal battle over the Elon Musk-owned company's compliance with local laws. On Friday, a Supreme Court judge in Brazil ordered the suspension until all related court orders on X were complied with, including the payment of fines amounting to over $3 million and the nomination of a legal representative in Brazil. In an interview with a local radio station, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said Musk needed to respect Brazilian authorities.
He cannot keep offending presidents, offending deputies, offending senators, offending the Congress, offending the Supreme Court. Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? The next thing is he needs to respect the decision of the Brazilian Supreme Court.
The judge's order is the latest chapter in an ongoing feud between the Brazilian Supreme Court Justice and Musk. It follows the freezing of Brazilian bank accounts belonging to satellite internet provider Starlink, which is 40% owned by